Welcome, friends. Pull up a rocking chair and let's sit a spell. There's always room for one more here on the porch. Our story this week hopefully will bring back some memories for you as well. I'd like to take you back to the summers of the late 50s and early 60s, when the days seemed endless. The Georgia sun was hot, and every child knew there was still one great adventure waiting before school started again. That was our annual family summer vacation. You ready? Take a seat, pick up some iced tea, sit back and relax. Let's enjoy some of that old-time vacation. You know, our summer vacation wasn't about the next destination. It was about going somewhere far from home. Back then, we wouldn't hardly go 60 or 30 miles away from home, much less 60 or more, except one time a year, and that was when it came time for vacation. This week is about remembering those special times in the 50s and 60s. In the latter part of July, school had been over for a month. It's hot. Thoughts about how fast summer is passing. And for us, the Autry family, growing up meant for 2 weeks we would go on summer vacation. Now, one year we would go to Florida and the beaches. The next year we would rotate and go camping in the North Georgia or Tennessee mountains. And back then when we went camping, it wasn't what we have today with glamping and hamping and all this other stuff. It was camping. I mean, roughing it. Clearing our own campsites, putting up the tents, clotheslines, and being sure we were near a mountain stream where we would put everything that needed to be kept cold. And there was no place to go get ice close by. And then we built a big fire pit that would become the place for all of our meals to be cooked in stories at night before turning in. Those were the days we looked forward to. None of the distractions we have for the kids today. It was all about family and making new friends that were camping close by. We sure look forward to this time of year. Lots of stories, a whole lot of memories. Even on the way up there at times, looking for black bears on the side of the road. You remember those times? Yeah, it still happens for some people as they go through those North Georgia mountains. But talk about excitement. Not the vacation itself, the anticipation. Counting the days, packing the old car, Dad checking the tires, Mom packing enough food to feed an army, and me and Buddy asking every 10 minutes, are we leaving tomorrow? What time are we going to get up? Are we going to leave early? Are we going to stop and get something to eat? When will we be there? Can I go ride horses tomorrow? What are we going to do? How long is it going to be? Mom and Dad would say, stop it. Just wait. Go to bed, go to sleep, and it'll be here before you know it. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, it was always Florida or the mountains. Like I said, one year we'd go to Florida. The smell of the salt air, the beaches, shells, sunburn, and the excitement of seeing the ocean. And then the next year, North Georgia or Tennessee, the mountains. And that's what I want to tell you about this week. With it being so hot here in Savannah, sitting here in this old rocking chair with Sammy, Sassy, hey Roxy, at my feet, a cold glass of ice sweet tea, and memories of cool mornings, mountain streams, campfires, a different place from Savannah and Betz Creek for sure. And thinking back, well, there were no RVs back then, no hookups, definitely no air conditioning, even in the car, no Wi-Fi, no cell phones. It was everybody packing up and loading the old Ford station wagon. Everybody all excited and ready to go. There we'd go, driving north on those 2-lane roads, watching the funny road signs on those narrow 2-lane roads headed to the mountains. And anybody remember, the Burma Shave road signs? These were small signs, folks. Our kids today wouldn't have a clue about what I'm talking about. But these were just small signs you would pass with a little phrase on each one. And he would have one here, and down the road, here's another one. Down the road, here's another one. Here's another one. You don't know what I'm talking about? Here, let me give you a couple of cool examples. But first, imagine you're riding in the car, doing about 55 miles an hour, and coming on the following signs. The first one says, every shaver now can snore 6 more minutes than before by using Burma Shave. They always would end like that. So you see, you'd have to just be driving down the road, and you would watch for those signs, and then there would be one and another and another and another. We'd try to figure them out as we went. If you just go down the road, and there they were, those Burma signs. Here's another one. If you dislike big traffic fines, slow down till you can read these signs. Burma Shave. Now, here's one more. I just love these things. No matter how you slice it, it's still your face. Be humane. Use Burma Shave. Well, we thought they were funny. And of course, you would see on barns and big signs all along the road as you went to the North Georgia. See Ruby Falls. Going down the road. See Ruby Falls. See Ruby Falls. And either Buddy or me would always say, gosh, I wonder who tripped Ruby. Corny, yeah. But we were on vacation. And more we were asking, are we there yet? Anybody heard that? Being going down the road, the kids say, are we there yet? And being told to sit back and stay busy. It will make time go quicker. How'd that work out? Not too good. But eventually, after turning on lots of narrow, winding roads up the side of mountains, and thinking Dad was going to drive off the cliff, always so close to the edge, and you see rocks falling. Back then, they didn't have all these paved roads. A lot of them were just dirt roads and had rocks on them and all that kind of stuff. Well, we finally made it to the spot where we were going to clear out and call home for the next 2 weeks. Stretching ropes between trees to hang stuff on, putting up the tents, hammering the stakes, finding the perfect place for the fire, and then, like I said, looking for a stream. That's where you kept the milk, the butter, the bacon, and the drinks, down in the cold mountain water, because there just wasn't a refrigerator close by, no electricity, and we didn't have generators back then, and no place close by to get ice. And so those mountain streams were cold and they worked. We kept things there and didn't have to worry about nobody else coming and getting it. We just leave things there. There may be some other campers a few campsites down. That's okay. You could put your stuff and not worry about it. How about that? Well, after a lot of work and fussing and arguing over where everything was going to go, we got the tents up, went and collected firewood and stacked it up next to where we put rocks to make a pit for the fire. Finally, the campsite was ready, and it had to be close to time by then, after all we went through, for our first meal of the vacation in the woods. Nothing tastes the same when you cook it over a campfire in the woods. Trust me on that. I can almost smell the campfire already. Well, the campfire wasn't just where we stayed. It became our neighborhood. Kids didn't know each other at breakfast, but by supper, they'd become lifelong friends, from adults visiting around the campfire. Somebody always had a guitar. Someone else would come over and tell ghost stories. Everyone looked out for one another. Nobody worried about locking anything. It felt like one big family. And you know what? It really was. Then back then, we didn't have street lights up in the mountains in the campsite. Back then, bedtime wasn't the end of the day. It was just when we got around the fires, told those stories, and roasted marshmallows, and maybe even put a hot dog on a stick. Who knows? But finally, time came to get in the tents and start settling down. It was the beginning of another adventure for us, Buddy and I, and whatever friends had come with us. Because you see, back then, we could take friends with us on vacation. They would kind of come and go along with us. Sometimes I'd have a friend, sometimes Buddy'd have a friend, sometimes both of us have a friend to go with us. And we would crawl into that little green tent that we had. Mom and Dad always had a big old canvas tent. We got the little green tent, pup tent, I think they called it. We talked about tomorrow's fishing and hiking and whatever adventures were just waiting over the next hill when the sun come up. And looking back, I don't remember falling asleep, but I do remember waking up every morning thinking, I can't wait to see what today brings. And somehow, we always woke up to the smell of fresh coffee brewing from a percolator on the Coleman stove, a green Coleman camp stove. And then, Mama would always fix some old country ham or bacon, frying it in an old cast iron skillet. If you've ever experienced that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I said now, there was no alarm clock. There was no phone, no television. Just the smell of fresh coffee brewing and breakfast telling us another adventure was about to begin. Every day. Well, we got up. Of course, we had to do our chores first around the campsite, clean everything up, be sure everything was put up. They did have bears around up there. As I mentioned, there was some black bears in the woods. So you had to hang things up. You had to be sure you didn't have nothing just out, because them bears could come up at night. Yeah, you had to zip those tents up like it was going to keep a bear out. Well, that's what we did. Then came fishing in the streams or the lakes around up there. Boy, us boys just had a ball just packing up. We'd get our little tackle box and get our, sometimes it's cane poles, sometimes it's a casting knife thing with a Zebco 33 reel. And then we'd go hiking up the mountains, looking for those black bears, or maybe a deer, or whatever animal we might come across. It was just an adventure. He never really knew where we were going, but we always was able to figure out how to get back. Don't understand that, but we did. And then we had horseback riding as well. Yep, almost every state park up North Georgia and in Tennessee had stables and a place that we could rent horses and go on trail rides. And depending on the particular park that we went to, lots of them had lakes, provided nice places for us kids to swim. Ooh, but that water was cold. The memories. And also in the evening, getting around the old campfire. Some of the neighbor people come over, or we'd go over there. People tell ghost stories, things about things that go bump in the night. Yeah, right before you go to bed, let's tell a ghost story. Let's tell about the time the bear came in and got all the food and went over and tore down the tents. Yeah, that's something good before you go to sleep. Full days, full stomachs, and tired boys. That was truly our summer vacations. Boy, looking back. thinking about it. Yeah, back then it was really different because of all the things we could do. Active imaginations, us boys, and every day. Didn't have to worry about having a Pac-Man. We didn't have to worry about a PlayStation. We didn't have to worry about an iPod. We didn't have to worry about a signal. Nope. Only signal was looking for was a flag telling us which way to go or how to get back. Well, those were the days. As I look back and I think about all the things we did and the number of years we went to the mountains and on all the adventures that we had, man, miss those days. But there always came a time had to put the tents away. Everything that you put out, you had to put back up. Oh, but it wasn't too bad. The fishing shows were back in the back of the car and everything was put up, and life slowly settles back into its everyday routine. The trip back home, well, we didn't ever ask when we're going to get home. When we're going to get home? Are we there yet? Most of the way back, we were so tired we just slept all the way. Then we'd get home. But something very special came home with us. Memories. As I've grown older, I've come to realize those camping trips were never really about catching fish or riding horses or sitting around a campfire. They were about a mom and a dad who loved their boys enough to give them something that money could never buy. Time as a family together. Looking back now, I realize we weren't rich, but we were blessed beyond measure. I realize those weren't just camping trips. God was giving us memories that still warm my heart, or because it's so hot, maybe it cools my heart here over 60 years later. And maybe, just maybe, one day our grandchildren will tell their grandchildren about the stories we shared right here on this back porch. As I look back now, I realize our family vacations weren't really about Florida or the mountains. They were truly about being together. Somehow, there was always room for one more. As I mentioned, sometimes it was one of my friends, sometimes it was one of buddies, sometimes it was both. Nobody seemed to worry if there was enough room. We simply made room. And looking back now, I think that's one of the greatest lessons my parents ever taught me. You don't always need a bigger tent. Sometimes you just need a bigger heart. I hope our grandchildren make wonderful memories of their own. They'll have adventures we never dreamed up. They'll use technology we never imagined. And one day, they'll tell those stories to their grandchildren. But maybe, just maybe, they'll also remember a few stories from an old rocking chair overlooking Betz Creek, and about a time when summer vacations were family adventures. Campfires were the evening entertainment, and a cold mountain stream was our refrigerator. New friends were only a campsite away. And as I said, there's always room for one more, because we had faith, we had family, we had friends. But more than anything else, when it all came down to it, we had each other. And after all these years, those memories are still making me smile. Hey, thanks for spending a little time with me today here on my back porch. I hope something from our adventure reminded you of someone you love, or maybe inspired you to make a few new memories of your own. So, until next time, may God richly bless you. And always remember, here on the back porch, there's always room for one more.